first year of my PhD. My presentation of today is about a joint analysis of crop production trends in Sahel using both MODIS INDIVI time series, crop modeling, and statistic data. And this work is resulting from a collaboration with Christian Baron, Agnès Béguet, Daniel Ossine, and myself from the CIRAD, and with also Bernardin Zungrana from the AgriMed Center in Niger. Well, in order to better understand issues of my studies, I would like to give you two elements of background, so it's a kind of introduction. First, the context of food security in West Africa, because as everyone knows, food security is one of the main issues for this region, and that mainly because West Africa is characterized by a strong climate variability in space and time, and mainly a rainfall variability, and by also high population growth rates. So we have important impacts on agricultural production and consequently on food availability, which is one of the main dimensions of the food security. So currently, one of the main challenges of West Africa is to enhance knowledge on crop production dynamics, both at regional and local scale. And my second element of background is about the different ways for the agricultural monitoring in West Africa. For example, we can use remote sensing information that tell us information on crop production, crop condition, trends, crop area, but also crop type. We can use also the agricultural statistic database as the FAO-STAT database or the AgriMed database, and that tell us information on crop production, surface harvested, but also on yield. But these data are often aggregated data at national or at least at subnational level. And finally, the agricultural monitoring could also be put in place by the use of a crop model to obtain yield or biomass prediction, or also information on vegetation conditions and so on. So, to sum up, one of the main issues is to enhance knowledge on the agricultural dynamics production in West Africa, and mainly in Sahel, to improve the food security. So that is why the objective of my study is to analyze what are the crop production dynamics in Sahel. And for that, I perform a joint analysis of those three previous ways for the monitoring of the agricultural production. First, INDIVI trends from remote sensing within the crop domain. Secondly, yield and biomass output trends from a crop model. And finally, statistic data trends. And what I want to say is, if some studies exist about the comparison between INDIVI observation and simulated observation, or INDIVI and statistic observation, to my knowledge, too few attempt to perform a cross comparison between both INDIVI, statistics, and modeling. So I think that is one of the originality of my studies today. Well, concerning data and methods used in my study for trend analysis from the output of from INDIVI observation, I have employed MODIS INDIVI time series, and that mainly because INDIVI is well correlated to the leaf area index, or also with vegetation primary production. So that is why I have chosen here to use the INDIVI as a proxy for vegetation greenness and biomass production. And I hypothesize that INDIVI increased with green plant biomass. Concerning the methods used, if many studies deals with the global vegetation monitoring, in terms of food security, global vegetation, which includes forests or savannas, are not representative of the crop vegetation. So that is why I have decided to extract the agricultural domain by applying a mask from the crop plant classes of the MODIS land cover product. And after, I compute INDIVI trends and also INDIVI anomaly within the crop domain. Well, for my approach based on crop model and also on statistic data, I focus on the Kolo department in Niger. And for statistic data, I have used millet yield from the AgriMed Center, and available between 2000 and 2010, and aggregated at the Kolo department scale. And concerning the crop model, I have employed the crop model server Hatch, which is a simple model for cereals and operating at a daily time step, and developed by the Cereal Center. And also this model is very suited for the analysis of climate impact on cereal growth and yield and also in biomass in dry environment, and it allows also the simulation of attainable yields and biomass at the wide scale and under climatic constraints. And moreover, simple input data are needed to run the model. We need, for example, information on cultivated species and varieties, seeding date, type of soil, level of fertilization, rainfall, and other climatic variables such as humidity, temperature, or insolation, and so on. And in my case, I have improved rainfall data from 7 rain gauge measurements from the AMACatch project and available between 2000 and 2012. And my climatic data are from a synoptic station from the EUREMET and available also between 2000 and 2010. And for each site and for each year, I simulate yield and biomass for one type of soil, and deep sandy soil, and for a local variety of pearl millet, Heinickering. Well, next move on to the presentation of my results, and for this I propose a two-part approach, with first a regional approach, and secondly a local approach to verify my regional approach. And for my regional approach, my first question is, what does vegetation monitoring by remote sensing tell us about crop production dynamics at a regional scale? Well, if we look at individual anomalies between 2000 and 2010, so you can see that we have a strong spatio-temporal variability of biomass production within the crop domain. For instance, in 2002, in Senegal, we have an individual anomaly, individual values that are abnormally low, whereas in 2010 they are high. So this means that when we have negative anomalies, vegetation undergoes stress and thus leads to a decrease in biomass production and have consequences on crop production. Now, if we look at the trend between 2000 and 2010 in West Africa, well, you can see that almost 3/4 of pixels show no significant trend, meaning that we have an overall stable trend in biomass production within the crop domain. But we can identify some specific area with increase in biomass production. This is the case of the Pinette Basin in Senegal. And some specific area with a decrease in biomass production, for example, in the northwest Nigeria or the south Nigeria. And two other elements can also be highlighted. We have a north-south effect because the majority of significant trends are situated in the Sudano-Saharan zone. And we have also an east-west effect because trends are positive at the west and tending to become negative at the east. Well, now next move on to my approach at local scale, and this is a presentation of the Kolo department, and this department is located at the south of the Niger, and it is about of 10,000 square kilometers, and for which the rainy season lists for only 4 months, from June to September, and with total rainfall ranging from 200 to 400 millimeters per year. So this department is situated in the Saharan climate zone. And in this department, the vegetation is sparse, and agriculture is rain-fed and dominated by pearl millet. So this means that in this department, in this region, agriculture is the main determinant of agricultural production is the rainfall variability. And here you can see, on this map, my 7 rain gauge station and my synoptic station. Well, now what about the trend at local scale? I mean around each station, and for that I look at the dominant trends within each square. For 3 stations we have no significant trend, meaning an overall stable trend in the crop production, or in the biomass production is better. This is the case of the site of Berkewel, Sadoré, and Carré. For 3 other sites, we have a significant negative trend. This is the case of Wankama, Ganamakora, and Banizumbu. And for only 1 site, we have an overall positive trend. This is the case of the Tanaberry. Well, next move on to the comparison with my 2 other datasets. And my first question is, are the crop model simulated yields on biomass in agreement with estimation from remote sensing observations? And at this stage, to compare individual values and simulated observations, I extract individual mean values within a square area with side of 10 kilometers around each site, and then I compare individual values with simulated observation. And here this is an example of result I have obtained for the carry site. And x-axis corresponds to years, and y-axis corresponds to the score of my values. And here the pink curve represents simulated yield, the orange curve represents simulated biomass, and the blue curve represents individual value within the crop domain around the carry site. And here you can see that finally we have no significant trend for both simulated yield and simulated biomass and individual within the crop domain, but with a high year-to-year variability for both datasets. So that is why at the site scale I have decided to compare individual observation and simulated observation only in terms of variability rather than in terms of trends. And if we look at this comparison for the other station, we can see that for 4 stations, Yardamakora, Banizumbu, Sadore, and Tanaberi, we have no correlation between individual observation and simulated observation, and that for both in the biomass and yield. If we look now at Berkawel and Carré, we have a moderate correlation with only one site, Berkawel, with a significant correlation. And for the last site, Wankama, we have a poor correlation but a negative correlation. So, to conclude, at the site scale, we have finally a poor agreement between simulated observation and remote sensing observation. So, that is why I have decided to look at the Kourou department scale by aggregating my values of my 7 stations for both individual observation and simulated observation. And here you can see that at the Kourou department scale, we have still no significant trend for both simulated biomass yield and individual within the crop domain. But if we look at the correlation, you can see that we have an overall correlation between individual observation and yield, simulated yield, and a moderate correlation between biomass and individual observation. So this means that at the Kourou department scale, we have an overall good agreement between simulated observation and individual observation, but no significant trend. Well, for my last approach, based on the statistic data, my last question is what do the statistic data say about the crop production trends at the Kourou department scale? And here, this is the magnet yield from the Agreement Center, and as you can see, we have an overall positive trend, but no significant trend of magnet yield between 2000 and 2012. And now, if we look at the comparison with individual and simulated yield, in pink it is a curve for the individual values, and here you can see that we have no significant trend, but opposite trend, and we have no correlation in terms of year-to-year variability. And if I add now the curve for the simulated observation, so this is a curve in blue, we have overall the same year-to-year variability, but here we have also opposite trends. And this results in a moderate correlation between individual and statistic observation, with no correlation between simulated data and statistic observation. So this means that at the Kourou department scale, we have no significant agreement between both individual observation and simulated observation, and with statistic observations. So that brings me to my conclusion, and I will briefly remind my main issue, that was what are the crop production trends in Sahel. And for my first approach at regional scale, we have seen that satellite observations show an overall stable trend of the crop vegetation or the biomass vegetation between 2000 and 2010, but here I am aware that I have only 10 years of data, so it is too few or too short to conclude about real trends. So that is why I would like to do again this analysis with the longest time series of NDVI values. Next, for my approach at local scale, we have seen firstly that we have a poor agreement between satellite and simulated observations at the site scale, I mean around each station, but we have a good overall agreement at the co-department scale. So that is why I would like to deepen the analysis by simulating biomass and yield for different types of soil, because here I think that the correlation is even less good. I consider only one type of soil, and so I don't take into account the soil variability in my simulations. And I would like also to redo the simulation for different farmer strategies, for example, different level of fertilization or different level of intensification, because I think it has impact on the NDVI values. Well, I want also to use a crop mask with a better spatial accuracy, because here I use the modest land cover product, and this is, I think, with a better spatial accuracy, I will avoid uncertainties in the localization of the crop domain by the modest land cover product. And maybe I want also to use spatial rain data rather than local data, just in order to see if the relation with the NDVI, which is a spatial data set, will be better or not. And finally, for my approach with statistic data, we have seen that we have no agreement at the co-department scale. And this, we could be hypothesized that it is due to the lack of spatial representativeness of this data set, because it is aggregated data at the national level. Well, thank you.
Any comments or questions? So it's nice to see this early in the process of your research, and I think we've all been through the same experience where you're looking for relationships and things don't come out as you wish they will, and it's part of that learning process. So I think this is inevitable, particularly in this region, which is highly variable spatially. And as you say, but it sounds like you're on a very good track with some ideas of how to go further. So we wish you luck with that research, and thank you for your presentation. Oh, Stephen, comment.
Let me understand how much of you think your problem might be in the crop masking to begin with. Is that really where a lot of the uncertainty is?
Can you repeat the question, because I don't understand?
How good is your crop mask?
Ouais.
Do you think you know the area, identify correctly the areas that are cropped?
No, I'm not sure, and this is another objective of my PhD. This is assessment of the quality of the modest land cover product for the identification of the cropland classes.
Okay, because that would take you in a much different direction of solution than if you thought your climate data was bad, or that your correlations to the climate metrics were bad. You would then look in a totally different direction.
Okay.
Well, I think one of the issues with this type of region is the spatial heterogeneity of the rainfall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the rainfall data are always very good for that location, but a few kilometers away it becomes really difficult. So you have a lot of challenges, but we're very supportive.